Thanks for joining me here in my online virtual studio. The class that we're going to do together today is on the glutes, the butt, sit bones. Sometimes I refer to it. All three use different terms as we go along. But it's to help strengthen the glutes, learn how to engage the glutes. Fortunately, the glutes are pretty big, strong muscle. So overall, fairly easy to strengthen and not so easy to, like, say, pull a muscle, tweak a muscle, etc. The glutes can be tight. So some of the things we're going to do today will help alleviate that tightness. Um, the glutes are actually the muscle in the body, the part of the body that is responsible for kind of helping to start that forward motion. So when you walk or run, it kind of starts driving from the back of the body and then goes forward into the hip flexors and the knees and the quads. So important to learn how to engage them and strengthen them and keep them, loose, not real tight glutes. Um, Glutes also attach, run down to the hamstring. So if the glutes are really tight, sometimes you have a lot of tension there. Sometimes that can start to have a negative impact, kind of drift down, so to speak, into the hamstrings and cause more problems in the hamstrings. Unlike the glutes, they are very susceptible to muscle pulls and tears and real tightness and other things like that. So keeping the glutes happy, healthy, can have a lot of additional benefits for other parts of the anatomy that are maybe a little more susceptible to injury and overuse. All right, we're going to begin laying on our backs. So the first several moments, minutes of class are going to be on our back. And we're going to start with some really easy stretches for the glutes and then get right away into some strengthening poses and poses that will help you learn how to fully engage the glutes and use that strength, tap into that strength. Come lay on your back. We're going to start with both knees bent, feet on the mat. Let's take the right side first. Hug the right knee to the chest. So you're kind of holding on just below the knee, very top of the shin. You keep the back grounded, shoulder blades grounded. All right, now, so this is a real subtle movement, so we'll do it in some stages. So you're going to pull the right knee in a little closer towards the chest. You're going to hold on with just the left hand, and you're going to aim that knee up and over towards the left shoulder. So it's like a little, it's not twisting, don't twist, keep the back grounded. It's just a real small, kind of subtle movement. So you're trying to bring that knee, if this makes sense, at a little diagonal movement towards the left shoulder. And that should be just enough that begin to feel a stretch, lengthening happening in that right glute. Take another breath here. And then slowly let that go. We'll come back to that side for a slightly different stretch in a moment. But let's give the left knee a nice hug in first. Holding on to begin with both hands. And then you hold on just with the right hand. You can release the left hand down. Hug it in a little closer, and then you kind of aim it up and slightly over to the right. So you're kind of angling it, the knee towards the shoulder. A little, again, diagonal line. Should begin to feel a little engagement of that left butt. One more breath. All right, slowly release the foot down. Now we go back to the right side. This is a little different stretch. So once again, hug the knee in. Now you're going to start to open it a little to the side, not as far as, say, a figure four position or pigeon position, but angling it a little bit more to the right. So now hold on to the top of the shin with the right hand. Flex the right foot and kind of hold on to the heel with the left hand. So you use the force of both hands to begin to move the right knee now towards the right shoulder. Okay, different, a little different part maybe of the glute that you feel stretching right now. Take another breath here. And then again, carefully release the right foot back to the mat. Take the left knee in. And again, first you start to just angle it slightly. So you're not bringing the shin parallel. Okay, that's a whole different thing. This is like a halfway in between. Hold on. just top of the shin with the left hand, flex the left foot, and then you're going to cup that left heel in the right palm. And you're going to use both those hands equally. It's a gentle movement. Okay, gentle movement, not big. Kind of angle it up towards the left shoulder. One more moment. All right, carefully let that down. Both feet on the mat, feet about hips distance, knees again face forward. Don't let the knees open to the side. Okay, really important to keep them facing forward right over the ankles. We're going to take 3 rounds of really slow, controlled glute bridges. All right, so you're not going to lift high into this bridge pose. You shouldn't need your block. We're going to kind of ripple up and down, kind of rolling up and down. Each time you lift, you're going to squeeze the glute. So this is more, not so much about the back bend, even though that will be happening. It's way more about strengthening and toning and learning to really properly engage those glutes. All right, so arms are by the side. And let's begin round 1. So you're going to lift up, not too high, squeeze the glutes. Exhale, lower down. So keep going here in a nice steady pattern, slow. You could hold that bridge like a breath or a half breath, or you may feel it's better right now as you're warming up the back, warming up the body, to just kind of ripple up and down, giving each time you lift. That's the important part here. Squeezing those glutes in really close to strengthen and tone and engage them. Let's take one more this round. Lift up, hold a breath, stay low, and then exhale, lower down. All right, we're going to do these the next 2 rounds just a little bit different. So walk the feet a little bit wider than hips distance. Now, turn the toes out to the side. That is going to have that kind of V shape in between the knees. You're going to be more at a wide angled bridge. We're still going to work the glutes, but it's also beneficial to get a little more into the inner thighs, adductors here. All right, arms down, press into the feet, lift up, squeeze, exhale, lower. So again, it's kind of that glute bridge up and down. Object is not to lift the hips too high. The object here, all 3 rounds, is to squeeze the glutes in. Let's get just a few more. And again, you can go fast. You can go a little slower. You can hang out for a breath, half a breath. Let's get one more of these. This wide angled bridge. Hold, squeeze, slowly lower down. All right, 3rd round, this one's even more different. So you're going to walk the feet in all the way to touch. All right, so try to press the inner ankles, inner knees, inner thighs together. So it's a narrow bridge, narrow bridge. We did hips distance, which is traditional. We did the wide angle. Now we're going to do a very narrow bridge. Same thing, lift up and down. Squeezing the glutes, pressing the inner knees together as you lift. Object, again, is not how high you lift. It's about squeezing and toning and learning how to fully use the strength of those glutes. It's a very strong muscle. All right, and again, it's easy, even if they're weak, it's pretty quick to do these to strengthen them. Let's get one more and then hold again, a breath, squeeze. Slowly release the hips down and separate the feet back to hips distance. All right, now we're going to do a 1-leg glute bridge. Before we lift, pull the right knee to the chest and then straighten the leg to the sky, point the toe. And now you're going to lift the hips up and down and up and down. Again, object here is not how high you lift. You're squeezing the glute. So it's more in the left glute now because the right leg is lifted and you're not really working that too much. It's kind of working the hamstring a little bit. You can have a bend in that knee. If it feels better to flex the foot, flex the foot. Come up, hold. We bend the right knee, bring the foot to the mat, and then carefully lower all the way back down. Let's try side 2. Bring the left knee in, straighten the leg up, point the toe or flex the foot, you choose. And then just begin those little 1-leg lifts here. So this one's getting into the right glute. So one thing you can do, if you want to up the intensity of this to feel it a little more in that bottom glute, you could get a block, a yoga block, under the bottom foot. That's going to lift you up a little higher, and chances are you'll feel it a little more in that glute. One more, hold. Rebend the knee, bring the foot to the mat, and then lower yourself all the way back down. All right, from here, come all the way up to a seat, and you're gonna, let's start at the back of the mat. Start at the back of the mat. These next couple of poses, to just kind of massage out the outer hips and the glutes a little bit if they feel ever tight or sore, overuse. These are both good movements to kind of help make them feel a little bit better. The first one in particular, a little more for the outer hips than for the glutes, but it will work the glutes as well. You're just going to start rocking side to side. All right, so you drop one hand to the mat, outside the mat, and then the other hip and butt lifts up. So you're just kind of rocking back and forth. Nothing fancy, nothing difficult. And again, definitely the glutes, but a little bit outer hips too. So those get tight or sore. This is good for those as well. Just a couple more of these hip rocks. And now pause. Scoot a little further back to the very back of the mat. Now, we're going to walk on the butt. These are butt walks. That's no other really way to put it, to describe it. You're going to walk to and fro the length of the mat, forward and back, just a few rounds on the butt. So keep the spine tall, and you're just going to start edging yourself forward one at a time, scooting yourself forward on your mat. And then when you get close to the top, you go backwards. It's usually a little more challenging to go backwards. So what you can do here is you can kind of bend the elbows and pump the arms back and forth to kind of help you find that movement. Let's just get a couple more. And again, these are just little things. This is not a yoga pose. I'm not sure where I learned this from, where I picked this up over the years, but it is a really kind of nice thing. Again, if your glutes are tight, your glutes are sore, just kind of irons them out, smooths them out a little bit. All right, one more time. Come back to the back of your mat. And then from here, bend the knees, sweep the feet to the side. Come on now, back to the top of your mat and come into tabletop position. All right, so we're going to stretch the right leg long back of the mat. Tuck the toes. And just for a couple breaths, just kind of rock forward and back a little. Pushing back through the heel as you rock back, coming on almost to the tips of the toes as you rock forward. All right, now pause. Turn just slightly to your right. And as you do, you're going to bump that left hip out to the left. And you should really feel that in that left glute stretching it, as well as the left outer hip. You don't have to turn too deep. It's not about twisting. But, it might feel nice to turn, look at the back edge of your mat. One more breath, come back to center, onto all fours. Take the left leg long, tuck the toes. And again, just to find a little movement opening, front of the hips, we just rock a few rounds forward and back. And then pause. First, begin to turn the chest just a little to the left. So it's not a full twist. It's just like a little half turn. Then bump the right hip out to the right. Maybe turn, look over to the left. Really nice stretch for that right side, for the glute and the outer hip. Come back to center, on to both knees, back to tabletop. We're going to take cat-cow, but we're going to add in some movements with the legs so we get into the glute a little more. So you're going to pull the right knee to the chest as you round in and find that cat position. Now you're going to flex the right foot, keep the knee bent, lifted up to the sky, into a donkey kick as you open forward into cow. Keep going like that. Curl in knee to nose. Flex the foot, lift the knee, open the heart. So moving back and forth between these two poses a few times. So as you come into that donkey kick, that lifted leg into cow, that should really, again, you should begin to feel that in that right glute, waking it up, engaging it. Get one more time, round in. Open, hold here. Flex the foot a little more and pulse it out for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly lower the right knee back down to tabletop. Moving into the left side. First we round, knee to nose, chin to chest. Find cat. Flex the left foot, bend the knee, lift it up towards the sky. Open the heart into cow. And keep going here. Curl in. Exhale, lift up. And as you lift, as you open to cow, every time you lift the foot up towards the sky, like you want to press the sole of the foot into the ceiling. Get a couple more. And let's call it one more. And then we hold here in that donkey kick and we pulse 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop the knee down, tuck the toes, lift the hips back up, and find downward facing dog. All right, so take a few moments here in downward dog. Not going to do in this practice a ton of downward dogs. It's not a real flow kind of class like we do sometimes, but here and there, enough. So take a moment. Make sure in downward dog that your hands are shoulder distance, that you have a little bend in the elbows. The feet are about hips distance, and you have a bigger little bend in the knees depending on how tight your hamstrings or low back feel at this moment. Drop the chest down, lift the hips up. All right, from here, take the feet a little bit wider than hips distance, maybe just like one step out, not as far as the edge of the mat. We don't want to go quite that wide, but definitely a little bit wider than hips distance. Keep the chest facing down below you. You're going to lift the right leg up to a lower three-leg dog. You're not going to lift high in this wider position. Keep the right foot flexed and slowly lower that leg down until the sole of the foot hovers. All right, you should really feel this in that left glute. Again, take that leg up to three-leg dog, not high. You don't want to open the hip. Slowly keep the leg fully engaged. Lower it until the foot hovers like an inch above the mat. One more on this side. Take the leg skyward. Keep the chest facing down. Slowly lower. Let the foot hover a breath. And then drop the foot down. Stay in this wider leg downward dog as we progress to side 2. Take the left leg up to three-leg dog. Again, it's not going to lift too high. Flex the foot. Engage that leg fully. Slowly lower it to hover. Slowly take that leg back up. It may not lift higher than the height of the hips, and that's okay. You're going to take it down a little at a time. You're going to let that left foot hover. And then one more time, we're going to take it up to that lower three-leg dog. We're going to let it come down and hover a breath. And then we're going to lower it, and we're going to step the feet back in to around hips distance. Of course, you can always go a bit wider, but probably not as wide as we just did for that three-leg dog lift. So those are good, those slow lifts, and the lowering. The lowering the leg is when you start to feel it in the opposite glute. All right, from here, take the right leg to three-leg dog. You should be able to lift it a little higher here. Step it forward, and you're going to rise up and find high lunge pose. All right, take your time getting in. The left toes are tucked, left heel is lifted. The left leg is super strong to support us here. The right knee is bent. Arms are reaching skyward. Now we're going to start to tap into a little bit of the power of those glutes and hamstrings. You're going to lean forward, and as you do, sweep the arms back by the outer hips. Gaze forward, but let the chest and the belly hover over that right thigh. You should begin to feel this in that right glute. All right, we're going to come back up to high lunge, sweep the arms to the sky. Exhale, lean forward, sweep the arms back. The palms are facing in by the outer hips. You're gazing forward, really strengthening that glute. Let's try that one more time. Inhale, tall spine, high lunge pose. As you exhale, lean forward, hover, and then bring the hands all the way to the mat. Step to high plank. Lift the hips back up to downward facing dog. Left side now. Take the left leg up to three-leg dog. Then as you exhale, you're going to take a big step through, and you're going to rise up and find that high lunge pose. All right, so getting settled here, steady. Again, power up more through the right leg. That's your support here. Tall spine, reach long through both sides. And then you're going to lean forward, gaze forward, chest reaches forward, belly hovers. Inhale, back up to high lunge so that left knee stays bent the whole time. Exhale, slowly lean forward, sweep the arms back to face in by the outer hips. Take that one more time, high lunge. Exhale, lean. Hold here. And then you're going to bring the hands all the way to the mat. Step to plank. Lift the hips back up to downward dog. You're going to take the right leg to three-leg dog. Now, as you roll forward to plank, You're going to lower that right foot and tap the right big toe to the back of the left heel. Inhale, take the right leg back to the sky. Exhale, roll forward, toe taps to heel. 2 more. Inhale, slow, straighten the leg to the sky. Roll to plank, and as you do, lower the right leg until the toe taps the heel. 1 more round. Inhale, 3-leg dog. Exhale, roll to plank, find that toe tap. Return to 3-leg dog, right leg rises, and then lower the right foot to the mat. Back to downward dog. Take the left leg up to the sky. And then exhale, roll forward. As you do, lower the left leg until the left big toe taps the back of the right heel. Inhale, straighten the leg skyward. Exhale, roll to plank, lower the leg, tap the toe. We have 2 more. Inhale, find 3-leg dog. Exhale, find that toe tap to the heel. 1 more. Inhale, left leg rises to the sky. Exhale, roll forward, tap. Take the leg back up. And then exhale, drop it back down to downward dog. Take a breath in through the nose. And then exhale through the nose. And 1 more like that. Big breath in. Exhale, full breath out. All right, we're going to roll the plank. And you're going to come onto elbows, forearms, and find a forearm plank. So you can keep the palms separate here, about shoulder distance, or you can interlace the fingers, maybe walk the elbows in a little closer, press the fingers and the forearms into the mat. You're going to float the right leg up into a 3-leg forearm plank. You're going to bend the right knee to the nose, curl in for cat. Flex the right foot, lead with the heel. You're going to kick that leg up to the sky as you open the heart to cow. And keep going. Inhale, curl in, knee to nose. Flex the foot, kick the leg up. That kicking is what's going to engage and strengthen that glute. 3 more. Inhale, curl in. Exhale, kick it up. 2 more, knee to nose, cat. Kick the leg up, open to cow. 1 more, round in. Kick it up. Drop the foot down. Drop all the way down onto the mat. If the hands were interlaced, separate them and find a Sphinx pose for a couple breaths before we come into side 2. Just giving ourselves a break. That's a big pose. A lot of strength involved. Core strength, as well as leg and glute strength, as well as upper body and shoulder strength. All right, from here, if you're going to interlace the fingers, do so again. Tuck the toes, lift back up into your forearm plank. Maybe step the feet in a little closer. Ground down more. If your fingers are interlaced, hands are interlaced, ground down through the pinky fingers. Press the elbows and forearms into the mat. Now we take the left leg up to that 3-leg forearm plank. We pull the knee to the nose, curl in cat, flex the foot, kick up, open. Keep going. Curl in. Exhale, flex with the heel, kick the leg up. 3 more. Round. Exhale, open. 2 more, knee to nose. Kick the leg up. Last time, curl in, kick up, drop the foot down. Again, drop the knees. Come back. 2 or 3 breaths into Sphinx pose. 1 more breath. All right, from here, come back onto all fours, hands and knees. Press down through the palms, tuck the toes, and lift the hips straight up to downward facing dog. Take a breath there. From here, take the right leg to 3-leg dog. Exhale, you're going to step it forward and come back up into that high lunge pose. Back to high lunge. Arms by the ears. From here, you're going to shift the weight to the right leg. You're going to bring the left knee up to the chest. So straighten the right leg, tall spine. Just like we did in that forearm plank, I want you to flex that left foot, lead with the heel, and you're going to stretch the leg back into warrior 3. So you're straightening the leg. Really good for engaging the legs and the glutes. Step it back to high lunge, arms by the ears. Step forward, bend that left knee, bring it up to the chest, arms by ears. Flex the foot, start going back, straightening that left leg, warrior 3 with the heel, and then rebend the right knee. Land back in high lunge. 1 more time. Pull that knee up to the chest, straighten the right leg. Flex the left foot deeply, straighten it back, lead with the heel. Take a breath here in warrior three. And then rebend the right knee, land back on the ball of the left foot, reach the arms to the sky to your high lunge, and then exhale, lean all the way forward as the hands come down to the mat, step to plank, lift the hips up, find downward facing dog. Taking that now to side two. Start with the left leg up to three-leg dog, and then exhale, step it through, and rise up to that high lunge pose. So these are balancing poses, all right, especially that warrior three. So if you feel shaky, you can kind of come close to your wall and maybe just press like the finger pads or one finger or the thumb into the wall for balance. Makes a difference. Bring the right knee to the chest first, straighten the left leg, stand up tall. Now flex the right foot, lead with the heel. As you stretch it back, straighten the leg and lean forward to warrior three. Rebend the left knee as you land back in your high lunge pose. 2 more rounds like that. Shift forward, right knee to chest, left leg straightens, tall spine. Flex the right foot. Start this push back with the heel. Straighten the leg, bring the torso parallel to the ground into warrior three. Then we rebend the left knee and land back in high lunge. And 1 more round. Shift forward. Right knee to chest, left leg straight, spine tall. Flex the right foot. Straighten the leg behind you. Gaze down at the mat into warrior three. Rebend the left knee. Landing back 1 more time for now into high lunge. And then you bring the hands all the way to the mat. Step back to plank. Once again, take the hips to the sky into downward facing dog. From here, you're going to take the right leg to three-leg dog. All right, this time you're going to bend the knee and open the hip, but you're going to continue to keep looking down at the mat. All right, so the gaze and the chest and the belly are facing down. They're not turning open to the right as we do sometimes. All right, now you're going to roll the plank. Now you're going to tap that bent right knee to the back of the left knee. And then you're going to take it back up. Keep the knee bent, hip open. 3 more times. Slowly roll the plank, and as you do, lower the right leg to tap the knee behind the left knee. Inhale. Left knee back, right knee back up. Keep the knee bent, and exhale, roll the plank. Tap behind the left knee. 1 more time. Elevate, keep that right knee bent. Roll forward, tap the knee behind the left. Straighten the right leg all the way to three-leg dog now, and then slowly lower the foot to the mat into downward dog. Let's set up for side two. So we begin with lifting the left leg to the sky. Then we bend the knee, open the hip. You can flex the foot, but don't turn and look under the left arm as we do sometimes. You roll the plank. Lower the left knee, tap it behind the right, and then lift it back up and keep it bent, keep the hip open. Round 2, roll the plank. Knee taps behind the other knee, and then we elevate it back up. Last 2, roll forward and tap. Elevate back up. Last round, roll forward, tap it. Straighten that left leg all the way up, and then lower the foot down and find downward facing dog. Take a big breath in through the nose. And this time, let's open the mouth and exhale. All right, you're going to roll all the way forward. Drop onto the knees, and then come lay flat on the belly. Lower the forehead down. Walk the legs long. Try to stretch the legs back a little bit more. Walk the legs in so the inner knees touch, and press the top of the feet into the mat. So you're going to walk the hands as wide as your mat, maybe even slightly off. You're going to tent onto the fingertips, and you're going to bend the elbows out to the side. And then inhale, you're going to lift the head and shoulders into cobra. And I want you to really squeeze those glutes. And then exhale, lower down, tap the forehead to the mat. Inhale, rise back to cobra, squeeze the glutes. And then exhale, lower down. So we're going to do these rolling cobras. It's sort of similar pattern as we did in those glute bridges, just kind of up and down, not holding one pose too long. And don't worry, as you come up into these cobras several more rounds, how high you lift the chest, how high you lift up. It's more about squeezing those glutes, okay? Really strengthening and squeezing them. All right, let's get 1 more time. Tap the forehead down, lift up, hold here, breath, and then release all the way down. Step the hands to the mat. Push yourself up to all fours, hands and knees. And you're going to find your way up to stand. So come to stand. And if you need a wall for this next pose, because this next pose is going to be a little bit of a balancing pose. We're going to do a little hip opener, standing pigeon pose, and then come into standing figure 4, which is usually often we use, and we're going to use it for that too. Outer hip stretch, outer hip opener. This is also very beneficial for the glutes. It encourages glute strength, especially if you squeeze those glutes and give it a little more support. So if you need a wall, be near a wall. You can have like your back against the wall. You can turn to the side and just have like an elbow. If your balance is super good, you can stay on your mat anywhere in your space you want to be. Start standing on the left leg. And first we're going to hug the right knee to the chest. Now, hold on to the right knee with the right hand, and then flex that right foot, and you're going to hold on to the foot with the left hand. So first keep that leg a little away from the body. And you're just going to start to slowly rock it side to side to get us set up for figure 4, which is coming next. So now begin to bend the left knee, sink down, and you're going to place the right ankle outside the left knee. We're standing figure 4. So you can keep the hands, one on the knee, one on the ankle. You can keep the hands at the hips, hands at heart in a prayer position, or you can reach the arms to the sky. Now keep the right foot flexed. That helps protect the knee from torquing out too far. And again, it's this big hip opener, inner thigh stretch. But I want you for the last 2 or 3 breaths we're here to be more aware of the glutes here, because you are using the glutes to help you stand up. And you want to give them a little squeeze here too. One more breath. All right, you're going to straighten the legs, uncross the right foot, and stand for a moment on both legs. If you give both legs a little shake out here. And then take it to side 2. So we start first standing on the right foot. Press the back against the wall or turn to the side, maybe elbow against the wall. Hug the left knee in close, and then begin to open it to the side. And first we find that kind of standing pigeon pose. Keep the foot a little away from the body to start, as you gently rock it side to side to encourage a little more hip opening, a little more hip movement. Now, begin to bend the right knee, sink down, and cross that left ankle outside the right knee for standing figure 4. We're going to explore this figure 4 shape. Seat it later, and maybe reclining. We'll see how much time we have in this class. Take one more breath. All right, slowly straighten the legs. And again, give them a little shake out. So if you came to your wall or stepped off your mat for any reason, come back now to the top of the mat. As you inhale, sweep the arms overhead and join the palms. And then exhale, fold back down to the ground. Step to plank, drop to the knees, and come lay on your back. So for this core work that we're going to do, be a little away from the wall, all right? Because at some point, you're going to have the legs open into more of a straddle position. So you don't want to be so close to the wall or another piece of furniture that, say, your foot hits against that. You want to have enough space here. Come lay on your back. First thing we're going to do 3 rounds of this. So first thing is we're going to scissor the legs up and down, and then we're going to pause about halfway, open the legs into a straddle position, and then hold that and pulse it out. All right, so be with the legs up to the sky. So a couple things here before we go. Legs can be mostly straight, knees can be really bent. The other thing you could do, especially if this pose begins to feel a little uncomfortable on your low back, you could, for this part, sit on your hands. And that boosts you up a little bit, takes a little pressure off the low back. So you could try that 1 round or not. All right, point the toes, and then you're going to begin to scissor the legs up and down. Cross one ankle over the other as you bring the legs up and cross them down. So this is like scissoring legs. So you go higher to low, or if you want a little more challenge for the abs, you stay medium to low, or you stay really low the whole time. Basically, the lower you go, the more intense it can feel. All right, the next time you come to about midway, like 45 degrees, open the legs into the straddle. So if you're sitting on your hands, slide the hands out from under you now. Flex the feet. We'll do this first round pretty slow. Flex the feet, and you kind of want to almost have the feet turning out. You want a nice external rotation of the legs. You're going to lift the head and shoulders, reach the arms between the knees, gaze forward, and pulse here. Reach forward. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower head and shoulders, bring the legs back up, and round two of those scissor legs. So again, you could sit on the hands if you tried that the first round, or again, it felt a little tight on the low back. Maybe you sit on the hands, kind of just boost you up a little, takes a little pressure off that low back. One more time, scissor. Pause again about that 45-degree angle. Open the legs to that straddle, flex the feet, kind of dial the feet out. Head and shoulders lift, reach the arms between the knees, gaze forward, pulse out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Last round, just a little shorter this time. Just a few times with the scissors up and down, high to low, medium to low. Stay really low the whole time. And then again, come to that halfway 45-degree angle mark. Last time, open to that straddle, flex the feet, turn the toes out, pulse. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower all the way down, give the knees a hug in. Rock a little side to side. And then from here, cross one ankle over the other. Rock yourself up. And come back to your mat. Hands down. Lift a plank. And take the hips up to downward facing dog. Take a moment there, get settled. So the next thing we're going to do are called the rocket launcher. So it's like a deep low lunge on one leg, but you're really focusing again on the glutes. So we start this again. We'll do the first couple rounds slow so you understand what I'm talking about. You're going to bend the knees deeply, like you're going to jump to the top of the mat, kind of like a frog would hop forward. Now, pick up the right foot and step it all the way outside the right hand. So the back toes are tucked, knee is lifted, hands down, and you're going to pulse here for 3, 2, 1. Step the right foot back. We bend the knee back to that froggy squat, and then step the left foot for it. So it's probably going to land outside the mat, outside the left hand. And you're going to pulse 3, 2, 1. You're going to go back to that squat, and you're going to step the right foot forward and pulse for a count of 3, 2, 1. Back and both knees bent. Lead with the left foot and pulse it out. 3, 2, 1. We have 2 more each side. Come back to that squat. Both knees bent like you're going to spring forward. Lead with the right foot. Ground it outside the right hand. Pulse. 1, 2, 3. Back to that really deep squat. Take the left foot forward. Pulse it out. 1, 2, 3. 1 more each side. Deep squat. Both knees bent. Step the right foot forward. Pulse. 3, 2, 1. Last time. Deep squat. Step forward. 3, 2, 1. Step back. Straighten the legs. Back to downward facing dog. So that little movement, for reference, is called a rocket launcher. All right, so you get that deep squat. That's like your momentum there. And then you launch the leg forward like a rocket launcher. 1 more breath. All right, from here, bend the knees. And then walk all the way to the top of the mat. Bring the hands to the hips. And you're going to come all the way up to stand. So from here, turn to face the side of your mat. We're going to progress through 4 different variations of squats. All right, we'll do 2, take a break, do something else, and then finish up with the other 2. So squats, those are great for the quads. Those are great for the knees. They can also be really beneficial to the glutes, especially if you remember, as you come into the squat, to squeeze the glutes. All right, so really good for all 3, but for this class in particular, focusing again on building up that glute strength. All right, have the feet, hips distance a little bit more. These are called good morning squats, and we're going to do 4 of them. You're going to start with hands behind head, elbows wide. Start with a little bend of the knees. So it's not like a deep squat yet. It's kind of halfway between. You want a little more than a little softness, a little soft bend. You're going to start to fold forward. Let's do this first one really slow. Fold, fold, fold until the back is flat and the belly is almost hitting the thigh. Squat a little deeper, and then you lift the head and shoulders, spread across the chest, squeeze the glutes really intensely, and then slowly straighten the legs. Have that little bend in the knees. Begin to fold with a little bend. You want the back flat. Okay, and then just before the belly and thighs connect, you come into that deep squat, that deep knee bend. You lift the chest, spread the elbows, slowly straighten the legs. Have that little softness, that little half squat as you start to fold and fold. Gaze down at the ground in front of you, and before the belly and thighs connect, you squat deeply and open the chest, and then you rise. And we have just one more of those. Bend the knees a little, begin to fold. Slow, slow, flat back. Spread the elbows wide, and then lift the chest. Find that squat, squeeze the glutes, and then rise up. Give the legs a little shake out here. So this next squat is going to be a squat twist. So a little core work for the abdominal, for the obliques rather. We did other core work, those scissor legs. This one will also add in a little bit for the side body. All right, once again, have the feet hips distance a little bit wider. Start with a gentle bend in the knees. Hands back behind the heads. This time, come into a deeper squat, squeeze the glutes. As you straighten the legs, you're going to twist right elbow to left knee. All right, let's stay on the same side. Squat, squeeze the glutes, lift, twist, elbow to knee. 3 more on this side. Squat, squeeze, lift, twist, and tap. 2 more times. Bend, lift, twist. 1 more on the side. Squeeze the glutes as you squat, twist, and tap. Give it a little shake out before we do side 2. And then come in right away. Hands behind the head, little soft bend in the knees to start. Squat down deeply, squeeze, and then as you lift, twist other side. Left elbow to right knee. Come down into that squat. Lift up and twist. 3 more. Bend, squeeze, lift, twist. Last 2. Squat, lift, twist. 1 more. Come down to that squat. Lift up and twist. And then give that a little shake. All right. Taking a brief break from those squats. So we give our quads and knees a little break. Come down onto your mat. Okay, keep facing the center of your mat, the center of your room. And you're going to come onto the shins. You're going to step the left foot out to the side, ground the foot, arms to a T, and you're going to bend over to your right into a modified side plank. So you can be on the fingertips or the palm. You could have a yoga block under your hand if the mat's you're straining to reach the mat. Now with the left arm, you choose here because the arm's just kind of passive. It's more about the leg that we're going to do. You can either keep the arm to the sky. If your shoulder starts to feel tired, you could bring the hand behind the head. You could bring the hand to the hip. We're going to lift that left leg up. We're going to point the toe, and we're going to make really small circles, really small. So this is an isolating movement. You should feel it in the outer hip as well as the glute. Now take those circles in the opposite direction. All right, now flex the foot. You're going to tap the toes in front of you and then behind you, but keep the right side stable. Don't let it move with you. It's just that left leg tapping forward and tapping back. 2 more. 1 more. All right, last part of this. Come back to center. Flex the foot now. Pulse it out. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ground the foot. Sweep the left arm over the ear. Let's hold this big side body stretch just for 2 breaths. Kind of release, stretch all that out. And then inhale, come up onto the shins and take the second side. Stepping the right foot to the side. Get a good grounding through that foot first. Arms stretch long from the shoulders. Bend to the left. Coming into that modified side plank to start. And again, arm can be to the sky, behind the head, maybe to the hip. Pick what feels good. Arm again is just kind of passive here. We're not really using it here. We're going to lift the right leg up. First, we're going to start pointing the toes, and we're going to make really small little circles in one direction. Very small. Very small. You don't have to move it much. Begin to feel it back there in the butt, and then take the circles. Tiny, tiny, small little circles other way. Keep the left side really still. You don't want it swaying side to side. Now, flex the foot. Tap it forward. Tap it back. Again, don't let the hip really sway here. You want to keep the movements kind of small, very controlled. 2 more. Tap forward, tap back, front and back. Come back to center. Flex the foot. Hold it there. Pulse it out. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ground the foot now completely. Take the right arm long over the ear to diagonal. Take 3 breaths here. Stretching out that right side. Modified side plank. 1 more big full breath. And then slowly come up onto the shins. Lean forward, hands down, tuck the toes, lift the knees, and come all the way up again to stand. So round 3 of our squats. You're going to step the feet wide for this one and turn the toes out. Start on straight legs. You're going to sweep the arms overhead and join the palms, gaze up towards the sky. And then you're going to bend the knees as you bring the hands to the heart in a prayer position. And as you bend the knees, squeeze. Inhale, straighten the legs, sweep the arms up, lengthen through the sides of the body. Exhale, lower back down into that deep, wide leg squat, squeeze the glutes. 4 more, inhale. Everything straightens, everything lengthens. Exhale. We come back down, we lower down, we bend the knees, squeeze the glutes. 3 more times, inhale. Lift up, lengthen through sides of waist and ribs. Pull the hands to the heart as you bend the knees and get those glutes a really nice deep squeeze. 2 more times, inhale. Straighten up. Exhale. Dip down. And 1 more time, inhale. Reach long. Exhale, come down. Let's hold here. 3 breaths. Gaze out in front of you. Squeeze the glutes, lift up tall through the spine. Not slouching, collapsing into the low back. 1 more breath. Straighten the legs. Step the feet in. And then turn to face either direction of your mat, either the back end or the front end. It doesn't matter. This is the last of our squats. So this one is going to be a squat kick back. All right, so 2 things are going to work those glutes. A squat, of course, is you squeeze both glutes, and then as you kick back, you're going to lead with the heel, as we've done in other poses, and that kicking back with the heel is what's really going to get into that glute and a little bit of the hamstring. All right, feet about hips distance. Again, start with a little half bend of the knees, a little softness in the knees. First, you're going to squat down. So do this first round real slow. Squeeze the glutes, keep the spine tall. Straighten the legs, lead with the right heel, kick the foot straight back. Again, you're going to switch sides in this one. Bend the knees into that deep squat, squeeze the glutes. Straighten the legs, lead with the left heel, kick the legs straight back. Keep going. Squat, squeeze, straighten, back to the first side. All right, so keep going, find a rhythm. Again, you can go slow or fast, depending on how you feel. But it's that kick back, leading with that heel. That for me, I really start to feel that glute and that hamstring really work here. Let's finish up a couple more of these to each side. Squat, kick back. How about 1 more to the right and 1 more to the left. And then that does it for our squats. Again, kind of kick the legs out, give them a little wiggle. Come back to the top of the mat. Inhale, reach the arms to the sky. Exhale, fold down to the ground. Let's pause here because we really haven't done a big forward fold here. Just kind of hold here a moment. Knees can be bent. Kind of lengthen the spine down. 1 more breath. All right, from here, bend knees. And you're going to come find a seat. So for this first pose, don't need a blanket under you. We're going to come into a seated figure 4. So if you'll remember, a little while ago, we did that standing figure 4 against the wall, balancing pose. Here, you're not balancing because you're seated on the ground, so you don't have, the worry of falling over or balancing on one leg. So maybe you can focus a little more on that figure 4 position, on that hip opener, but also starting to engage the glute in that pose. So we start out, knees bent, feet on the mat, tall spine, hands by the hips. Now, to get into this pose, we're all going to come in this way. We're going to lean back on elbows, forearms. Okay, but keep the chest open here, right? Not lounging, not slouching, no chin to chest, no rounding of the spine. Press into the palms and forearms and lift the chest. Float the right leg up, and then you're going to cross that right ankle outside the left knee. All right, we've been here before. We did that a little while ago standing, except now our butt's on the ground. We don't have to worry about falling over. All right, you can stay here if this feels good. Gently rock that shin, foot side to side. Gently open up that hip, stretch that inner thigh, engage the glute. Or you want to go a little deeper, you start to come on the hands, scoot in closer so that the heel, the left heel and the left butt come a little closer and the spine is a little taller. And then you also here kind of rock a little side to side. A couple more breaths. All right, let's uncross that ankle. Everybody can back up onto the hands to start with. Take a moment here. So just start feet on the mat, feet hips distance, tall spine, hands on the mat. All right, now to come into side two. It's all lean back and elbows forms. Fingers point forward. Chest rises. Flip the left foot up and cross it outside the right knee. Flex the foot. Pause here, breath before you maybe or maybe not go deeper. Maybe this already feels good. And there's really not much advantage to coming onto the hands for our purposes here in this class. That's what we're after, again, is that nice hip opener, but also getting a little bonus stretch into the glutes. However, if you want to go deeper, you start to lift onto the hands, scoot closer in, spine tall. Spine is tall, no matter if you're on the hands or the forearms, not, again, rounding here. And take a couple more breaths in this seated figure four position. One more breath. All right, you're going to uncross the leg and slide the legs to straight. So here is where you could sit on a folded blanket or firm cushion if you want next to poses, if that's helpful. All right, especially this next one, actually for both poses. The next one is going to be a seated forward fold. So if this is challenging for you, tight hamstrings, tight low back, getting a little bit of height under you. I mean, you don't want to be up this high, but adding just a little height and a little support can really make a big difference, can really make the pose feel a little easier. All right, reach the arms overhead, lengthen up, stretch all the fingers to the sky, and then slowly begin to fold, keep the back flat. You can drop the hands down to the mat outside the legs. Maybe you can hold on to the ankles or the outer feet, but don't strain to get them. Right? If you're straining to the point where your sit bones are coming way up off the mat, then you pull out a little bit. And if your low back feels really sore, you don't go down too deep. If your hamstrings feel tight, you don't go down too deep. Or you could bend the knees and float the backs of the knees up off the mat to make it feel a little bit spacious. Take about 3 breaths here. Just folding in to wherever it feels good. Keep the feet flexed. So we want to keep the legs working here a little bit longer. 2 more breaths. 2 more breaths here. And then on your next inhale, walk the hands in. If you're on a cushion or blanket, firm cushion, not a soft, fluffy pillow, you can stay seated on that. You're going to bend the right shin in like a cross-leg position. The left foot, you're going to cross it over the right knee and you want to ground that foot firmly. So if you're struggling to get that, sit on a blanket, or you could even wiggle the right heel under you and sit on the right heel. All right, once you're comfy here, hug that left thigh in towards the chest. You're going to keep the right arm wrapped around that shin and you're going to turn, twist to your left and drop the left fingers behind you. So this nice seated spinal twist. And this particular one with the legs in this position with the bent knees, for me, I can usually really feel this twist in my left glute and outer hip. I can just kind of really feel that stretching out and lengthening. So this is a really ideal seated twist when we're working on the glutes. Keep the chin a little lower than the forehead here, so you don't want to tuck it in or thrust it forward. And watch here. All right, well, we're pretty warmed up. We've been working for a while. Back should be warm. But don't overturn the spine, especially if you feel any tightness in the low back. Take another breath here. And then slowly, carefully turn back to face forward, uncross the legs, and switch them around. So bend the left knee in, like a cross-leg position. And then you can pick up that right foot or kind of wiggle it, scoot it around so it's grounded outside the left knee. Make sure both butt cheeks, both glutes are supported, even if you're sitting on the opposite heel. Once you're secure, once both sit bones are grounded, hug that right thigh into the chest. Get the left arm wrapped around the shin and then begin to turn slowly to your right. And take a few breaths here in this nice seated spinal twist. Adding in perhaps, you may not feel it, but I usually do. This one usually does it for me. I feel a nice little stretch going on in that right outer hip and right glute. Take one more breath here. And then slowly turn forward, uncross the legs. And now you're going to come lay on your back. So take any props you might have been using to the side. I'm going to take one more little bone, kind of combination hip opener, glute stretch, and then finish after that with an easy recline twist. Come lay on your back. You're going to hug both knees to the chest. First, let's cross the left knee over the right. So before we progress deeper, kind of hold on one hand to the top of each shin and hug the top thigh, the left thigh in towards the chest. All right, now flex both feet. Most of us will probably have to lift the head and shoulders and get a grip. Ideally, if you can reach, you want to hold on to the outer edges of the feet. If that's just not attainable, try holding on to the ankles or the lower part of the shins. When you have a grip on something, release the head and shoulders back down, ground the shoulder blades. So here now, we begin to gently try to separate the feet away from each other, like the opposite sides of a rubber band. But it's a very, very small, subtle, gentle movement. So it's a hip opener, and oftentimes in classes, I do this pose seated. This is called cow face pose. But do it on the back because it can be a little challenging if you have knee problems to do this in a seat. So it's a little less intrusive on the back. Hip opener, for sure, that's the main purpose. But you should also, again, begin to feel this in the glutes, just a bit, maybe in particular the left glute. Take another breath here, and then uncross the legs, and just for a moment, hug both knees into the chest. All right, other side, take the right knee over the left. Before we go deeper, hug the top thigh in towards the belly. Flex the feet, get a grip of something, and then release down when you have that grip. And then again, real subtle, real small. Begin to move the feet. It's what we call an isometric movement. So you may not actually experience any movement, any more opening, but it's the mere action of trying to make that movement happen that has the benefits. 2 more breaths. And 1. All right, uncross the knees. You're going to hug just the right knee into the chest now and slide that left leg to straight. From here, you're going to twist over to your left. You're going to ground the shoulder blades, and you're going to start to twist the upper body to the right. Let's spend about 3 breaths here. As always in these twists, don't overdo. Watch the neck. It does not have to participate in the twist. You can gaze up to the sky if your neck tends to, get tweaked, pinched nerves easily. Avoid turning the neck too deep. 1 more breath. All right, slowly roll onto the back and change sides. Slide the right leg to straight. Hug the left knee in. Slowly twist, roll to your right. Ground the shoulder blades firmly and begin to turn right side of the heart to the left. So with one knee bent and the other leg straight, again, a position where you may feel the stretch in the glutes on the bent knee side. A little bit, outer hip and glute. Take 1 more breath here. And then roll onto the back. Give both knees a hug in, rock a little side to side, and then bring yourself up to a seat. And that is our glute class. So again, a really important part of the body to keep strong and toned and engaged, because we use those glutes to kind of drive. You could kind of observe in some of the standing poses we did. Think about that warrior three pose, where I told you like kind of lead back with the heel. And that involves a lot of glute and hamstring and leg strength, and not just in the standing leg, but in the leg you're straightening back behind you. So really important. And again, we're fortunate that the glutes are fairly easy to strengthen. They're a big, strong muscle. So it's usually pretty easy if you have weak glutes. It doesn't take a lot of time, a lot of effort to get them a little stronger. So do those glute bridges, do your hip rocks, butt walks, do the squats. Any kind of squats are really good for the glutes. But remember, when you do, you got to squeeze the glutes in order to make it work. All right, thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you in another class really soon.